This issue had me like, out loud, man. It was dope. What's going on, everybody? Gem Mint here with today's new comic book day reviews for Wednesday, July 13th. A couple of days late, but I'm all caught up now, and hopefully we'll just keep up with it from now on. Before we jump into this week's reviews, I just want to let you guys know I will be at San Diego Comic-Con next week, and I'm going to be doing a ton of live streams on Whatnot. Make sure to not only follow me on Whatnot, bookmark those different streams. I have them all set up, ready to go. Sometimes may change depending on what's going on, but Comic Tom and myself plan on going hard with the SDCC exclusives and whatever else we can get our hands on. So make sure you guys are following us over on Whatnot. Let's jump into a couple of books that I forgot to talk about in the video I released the other day, catching up on 2 weeks of comics. I forgot to talk about Amazing Spider-Man issue 5 by Wells, Romita Jr., Hanna, and Menez. I really like the story. I like the Tombstone character. I like how he really played Spider-Man in the last issue, forcing him to basically take out the Rose, his enemy, and having Spider-Man thinking he's doing something good. This is the Spider-Man Revenge issue, and he is beat to hell from the last issue, but the artwork doesn't look that good, man. John Romita Jr. really boxed him up to show these welts and bruises, but man, just the art isn't really good on here, but I do like the story. I forgot to mention Black Panther issue 7. This is by Ridley, Bandini, and Milla. I like the covers, Alex Ross covers. The story, I liked it in the beginning. It's kind of feeling a little bit boring right now. I don't like this T'Challa dethroned and weak and having no support really. I kind of like tying it in with Storm and having her involved as well. And this whole sleeper cell storyline, I don't know. I'm a little bit over it. And lastly, I forgot to talk about Spawn 331. This one was by Rory McConville and Carlo Barberi. And what an amazing issue. Now, Cagliostro, obviously he was from early on in the issues. He's been around for a long time. Did they retcon his origin? I don't really want to give spoilers here, but I was like, whoa, this was a deep Cagliostro issue. I really dug it. It was really interesting and different from the different stuff that we've been getting from Scorched and King Spawn and Spawn. Definitely a solid issue there. Now on to this week, and let's start with Marvel Comics, y'all. We're going to start with Moon Knight, issue 13, Jed MacKay. He's joined by Sabatini and Rosenberg. Awesome issue. I loved this Taskmaster being hired to kill Moon Knight and him being like, hell no, I'm not messing with Moon Knight. Amazing artwork. Awesome dialogue, and finally, this has been a Moon Knight story. This has been a costumed hero story. We're getting the split personality, Stephen Grant, Jake Lockley stuff finally, and I'm interested to see what Jed MacKay does with it. This issue had me like, out loud, man. It was dope. Daredevil's back with a new #1 with the same creative team. We got Chip Zdarsky, Cicchetto, D. Latore, and Wilson. I don't know, I just don't feel like it needed a new #1. It feels like a continuation from his previous run after Devil's Reign. You have Daredevil and Elektra going out there being Daredevil. I like the character development in Elektra and how her portraying Daredevil has changed her. Stick notices right away, and she seems a little bit weaker because she has more compassion. I don't know. It was okay. I mean, I like Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil. It's just for the new #1, just didn't feel like a big bang of an issue. And that'll bring us on over to Wolverine, issue 23, Benjamin Percy, Kubert, and Martin. This is the last of the Deadpool arc. It continues to highlight that this book doesn't have real clear direction, but I can't help but loving Deadpool in this arc. I think this was the strongest issue out of all of them. I like how the cover pays homage to, what is it, Wolverine like 55 or 50 or something like that, 155. Anyway, Deadpool wanting to join the X-Force. It was kind of touching. Great artwork and paneling in the beginning too. Like everything was like murals. It was a good issue, but it feels like it was a Deadpool issue. I mean, it was supposed to. He hijacked the book and everything, but doesn't feel like a Wolverine run, but it was a cool Deadpool Wolverine arc and issue, if that makes sense. Next up, we got The Punisher, issue 4, Jason Aaron, Saez, Aceta, and Stewart. I love this run. This was a crazy issue. I don't want to get into spoilers, but what the Hand does at the end is jaw-dropping. And yeah, Punisher, he's had enough of this, man. You got the resurrected wife of Frank Castle wondering where her kids are. Take me to the park. This doesn't feel right. And Punisher being like, what are they calling the child of the beast? He's basically like killing so many people throughout his life that Ares, the god of war, takes notice. The Beast, whatever that may be, takes notice and wants him, like almost like Spawn. They want him on their side. And it's funny to see like all these evil people just wanting to embrace the Punisher. You're getting flashbacks of him as a kid. That's been a little controversial. Like, I don't know, was he always a messed up kid? Did he get messed up in the army? Or was he just messed up from what happened to his family? Either way, I really like it. And I like, even the Daredevil one wasn't that strong in my opinion. I like how it gave a nod to this run, and the continuity is all there. Continuity matters. Now we're going to X-Men, the Hellfire Gala, issue 1, oversized issue. What is this? Jerry Dugan, Anka, Dauterman, Lally, and Villa. So a lot of people disliked, it seemed, the previous Hellfire Gala. I didn't mind it. I thought it was fun and interesting. They made fun of a lot of the costumes. I feel like we didn't really get a lot of the costume stuff here, and it's more like, okay, every year we're going to have a gala and recruit a new X-Men team. Makes me feel like the last recruited team wasn't a big deal. That run is probably going to end now. And now we have a new X-Men team. I can't find myself feeling excited. I felt like it was kind of a boring issue, oversized, and, whatever. Moving on to Avengers X-Men Eternals, Eve of Judgment. This is the Kieran Gillen kind of Eternals deciding that mutants have become deviants of humans, and now that they're in this dangerous space of being able to resurrect themselves, terraforming other planets, that we got to get rid of these deviants. So this is setting the tone for that. Kieran Gillen is joined by Pascal Ferry and Dean White. If you're not reading Eternals, you're not going to be able to jump into this. It's the same narration, same dialogue. You kind of need to know about the Earth as the machine and everything that's happened with Thanos. And Thanos is it his grandfather? Or is it his father? It's his grandfather. Euros or something like that. Like Eternals, I find myself a little bored, but I keep on reading it. I'm interested to see where it goes. I power through some of the heavy exposition and heavy dialogue because I do like the story, and I want to see this big AVX, but it's EVX now. We're on to Spider-Man 2099, Exodus issue 4. This is by Miracolo, Albertov, and Orlando. This is the Black Widow 2099. So Miguel is part of this issue. I've criticized the first two issues of this miniseries of not having any Spider-Man 2099 in their Spider-Man 2099 book, but I like this one, man. We do figure out who the Black Widow is, or we find out who she is later on, but I like this interaction between Hawkeye of the future, who's like this bad guy, assassin, never misses a shot, and this whole overarching story with Norman Osborn and everything. It's growing on me. I really didn't like this run. I like the alpha, didn't like the run, but as we're getting into the middle of it, I'm finding myself enjoying it. I didn't read Savage Avengers. Issue 3 is out. I'm going to read this and include that in my next week's new comic book day review, but I just wanted to highlight it. I didn't realize it came out until it was too late. All right, moving on over to DC. We got this Superman, part of the Dark Crisis one-shots, A World Without the Justice League. So this is 2 stories, and I guess the best way to describe it, versions of the fallen Justice League members living their perfect life on this alternate universe. So this is Superman, where John Kent never left to go to the future, and Superman didn't miss out on Jonathan Kent's teen years. So we see him going from 13 to 17. Very touching. I love the heart, Jonathan Kent's heart, on how he can't hear these voices happening. What is it, an apocalypse or Darkseid killing millions of people, committing genocide, light years away, and not being able to sit and ignore it like Clark did. It was touching stuff, man. This almost got pick of the week. The backup story was an Aquaman story that was nowhere near as good. To be fair, I haven't been following Aquaman. It had something to do with the wedding, but it's kind of like while the Justice League members are dead, they're living their best lives and looking at these timelines that never happened. I don't know, something like that. Only 2 books from DC this week, but they were bangers, man. Rogues is out with issue 3 on DC's Black Label. Joshua Williamson, Leomax, and Wordy. This was an amazing issue. It's Ocean's 11, but, C-level DC Rogues, and it's Black Label, so you have the adult themes, the adult dialogues. It's a heist trying to steal gold from Gorilla City. I love Grodd, the kind of revelation of gold is not really why they're rich, and we find out why in this issue. The deaths that occur, it feels grounded in reality, even though we're in this secret underground city fighting, advanced gorillas. I love Rogues, man. Issue 3 was fire. Which brings us to the indies, and yeah, we got an indie pick of the week. We're gonna start with King Spawn, issue 12, Sean Lewis and Javier Fernandez. So King Spawn is really focusing on Terry Fitzgerald and Al Simmons, you know, playing with the idea of resurrecting Wanda, bringing her back, again with the dead zones, but this one was really more so how being locked out of heaven and hell are really affecting the angels and demons, and it's really making them stir crazy. They got to get the hell out of there. And we see Spawn's power, man. He sends somebody back to heaven. I'm not going to give any spoilers, and it was super interesting. I dig this. We figure out this crown made up of the souls of Spawn's deceased enemies. Pretty sick, dope artwork. Enjoyed this issue. 8 Billion Genies, issue 3 by Charles Soule and Ryan Brown is out. Love this. What if everybody got a genie? 8 billion genies for 8 billion people. What happens within the first 8 seconds? Then the first 8 minutes. Now we're into the first 8 days. And I think we're going to see next issues the first 8 weeks. So I like the timeline. I like the goofiness of the genies, but the serious ramifications of wishing for, like, not thought out wishes. Awesome. And I think it got optioned or something too, man. It's a fun series. Pick it up. A Town Called Terror is here with issue 4 by Steve Niles and Simon Kudransky. Really growing on me. My mind is able to get past the mind-blowing artwork and really fall into the story of this family, seemingly of demons and of, evil people. And we find out about the main character, Henry. His father is like the head bad guy of this story. We find out what happened to his mother, and he finds himself in a similar fate here. And again, the atmosphere and the tone of the artwork, it's like you're there. It's so well detailed. It reminds me of like Spawn animated series artwork, but on paper, or even like the Korn video that McFarlane did. It's got that type of vibe. And it's just amazing. You really need to check it out. We have a few number ones from Image that came out. I gave them all a shot. Above Snakes is here by Sean Lewis and Hayden Sherman, joined by Hassan Otsmane Elhau. I think I finally said that name right, or at least a lot better than I have been saying it. So this guy on the cover in the desert, that's what we have, a wanderer. He's almost like a Ronin, like a Usagi Yojimbo, wandering, helping people out that are in need. So his family, I believe, was killed, and he's out looking for his killers, and the killers all convene at bars and little oases, and hey, did you get revenge yet? Nah, I'm still looking. How about you? Kind of a thing, helping this brothel of trapped and kidnapped women along the way. Good, solid issue, nice writing, raunchy kind of adult themes, and I dug it. Speaking of which, we've got Haunted Universes by T.P. Luis and Ashley Woods. This one wasn't really for me. It was such a gritty art style, and I don't mean like dark and gritty like Batman is dark and gritty. I'm like, everything is like sketchy and hard to make out, but then it's like highly sexual and graphic. It feels like a Euro book or something. It feels like it's something from England. It was kind of like demonic and satanic. I didn't really get it. It was a little too deep for me. But the other number one that came out is also my pick of the week. It's Impact Winter by Travis Beacom, Stephen Green, and Matt Hollingsworth. Holy first of all, it's kind of multiple things happening at once. Impact Winter is referencing the fact that this is post-Earth getting hit by a comet. Now, not only did the comet, kill people and kind of blacken the sky, similar to Scott Snyder's Nocterra, but it's also a vampire story. But the vampire story, it's different than other vampire stories. And forget all that. The character development here is insane. I cared so much about this female character, the main character, and the man that you see behind her. I was so invested. And they set up this investment, and then they rip your guts right out of you. And it's totally unexpected. Mind-blowing. I'm out loud saying, oh my God, I was into this book. Pick of the week, Impact Winter, post getting hit by an asteroid, vampire story, love story, survival story. Awesome book. And with that, I am officially caught up. Now I get to read all next week's books and try to get on time for that. Let me know what you thought about this week's comics in the comments below. If you're watching this, thank you, even though it came out late. Appreciate your time. Stay minty fresh, and make sure to follow me on Whatnot for all the San Diego Comic-Con craziness. Plus, I'll be putting out content on the channel. I got to do tours and things of that nature. Stay minty fresh, y'all. Peace.